Welcome to the Trust Radio Network. Join your host, attorney Stephen A. Leahy, every Saturday night at 8, right here on AM 560, as he engages in conversation with some of the most trusted professionals in all of Chicagoland. Enjoy interviews with local professionals dedicated to providing the very best products and services. Learn who they are, what they do, and most importantly, why they do it. Take a step inside the minds of some of Chicagoland's most successful business leaders and learn all there is to know every Saturday night at 8 on the Trust Radio Network. Now, here's your host, attorney Stephen A. Leahy.
Tonight on the Trust Radio Network, the guy who started Open Tax Resolution, attorney Stephen A. Leahy. I'm Jim Leahy, Leahy Real Estate with That Properties, and Deborah Schreiner, our technical producer, the best in the business. And all three of us together, we create the Trust Radio Network.
Well, thank you, Jim. This is the Trust Radio Network, and the show is sponsored by it's called the Law Office of Stephen A. Leahy, PC, and Opum Tax Resolutions. Opum helps business professionals solve IRS problems. We help them with audits and levies, liens and garnishments, collections on filed tax returns, and payroll tax issues. We also help people with mortgage foreclosures, loan modifications, bankruptcy, and other debt-related issues. So if you have any of these problems, or if you know someone who does, you should give us a call at 312-664-6649. Again, it's 312-664-6649. You can visit us on the web at chicagotaxteam.com. Now, what's going on here is that there's a open enrollment for health care coming up. So we wanted to have a show with the guy who knows the most about this, and his name is C. Stephen Tucker.
Thank you, gentlemen. Well, thank you for coming on, C. Stephen Tucker. We appreciate it. You are the clown prince of
the clown prince,
the clown prince of everything healthcare.
Never been called clown prince. I think I like it.
Well, for the Joker movie.
Oh, that's right. Nice tie into popular culture.
Yeah, you like that?
Of course, I don't know anything about popular culture, so I don't like to tie into that.
And of course, I was going to make a bet about attorney Stephen Leahy's hair and Christina Aguilera. It didn't work out, so we're going to continue. Pop culture, don't worry. Listen, I can't be on all the time, guys. There's going to be some things that fail. All right.
So Mr. Tucker has been here on our show before,
Indeed.
and we know that there's that this is an important time of year. So we wanted to see Stephen Tucker to come on in and tell us about healthcare. But before we go into that, before the show was started, we had a great discussion about how Steve was thrown into the limelight about, of course, using
is a great story.
Using his expertise that very few people have about healthcare, the laws and Obamacare and all this, because you know this stuff inside and out. It's kind of amazing. Tell us a little bit about that. How did this come up?
Right. So I was watching Fox News, Megyn Kelly, before she became a never Trumper.
Oh, now Megyn used to be my favorite.
She used to be my favorite. Emphasis on used. And so my wife and I are watching, and this man named Bill Elliott comes on. And she says, "Bill, tell us your story." And Bill said, "Well, I'm in my 4th battle with cancer, and I just got a letter of cancellation from my insurance company. They're canceling my policy because of Obamacare," which, of course, there were millions of policy cancellations, even though our former dear leader said, if you like your plan, you can keep it. So that was complete fallacy. Got 4 Pinocchios. I think the WAPO did 5 just because of how catastrophic that lie was. But nevertheless, so first I'm thinking, because he's a 2-time Obama voter, so first I'm thinking and watching TV, I'm like, it serves you right, because he voted twice for Barack Obama. And now he tells the rest of the story, and I'm starting to get a little verklempt because he's got cancer and he's losing his policy. And so Megyn says, "What are you going to do?" He goes, I'm not going to put the burden on my family. I'm just going to let nature take its course. And now my wife is very upset. And so he finishes it. He's describing how big his deductible is going to be, the new replacement plan that they're giving him. His premium went up by $1,000 a month. His deductible went up $7,000, $13,500 for a family, just crazy amounts. So my wife turns to me after the segment's over. She said, "You're probably one of the only people in the country that could probably help him. And you know how to do it. Why don't you reach out to him?" So, of course, everybody's on Facebook, billions of users. So I'm Googling to find him, blah, blah, blah. I find him on Facebook. So I sent him a message. on Facebook, and I said, "Sir, I saw your episode with Megyn Kelly. You and I are on the opposite side of the political spectrum. I just want you to know what your insurance company is doing is they're violating federal law. You cannot cancel someone's policy in the middle of medical treatment, especially cancer treatment. Section 2742 of Public Law 104-191, which is HIPAA law, has a provision in there that contains no ambiguity. You just can't do that." So I say, if you go to my blog, truthaboutobamacare.com, click on the link and print it out, and then take it to your governor. He lives in South Carolina. I said, she's one of us. It was Nikki Haley at the time. And so you don't think somebody's ever going to do exactly what you tell them to do. It's never going to happen, right? But you try to give them the best advice you can. The guy does exactly as I described. He goes to Nikki Haley's office. Nikki Haley, to her credit, her staff faxes over the section of HIPAA law pertaining to the inability for an insurance company to cancel your coverage. And he contacts me. Honestly, he contacted me, I think it's 2 days later, via private message. He goes, "I just want you to know, I think you saved my life." He said, "I want you to know my insurance company apologized. They reinstated my policy, and they said I can keep it for as long as I need."
Now, that's an amazing story. First, I want to tell you that as an attorney, I love when you start quoting the code.
I felt the electricity.
I just love that. Yeah. And this would be a great story if that's where it ended. But it didn't end there, did it?
It did not end there. So, of course, this is now a made-for-TV story. Right-wing Republican Tea Party supporter helps a two-time Barack Obama voter get his policy back because it was canceled because of Obamacare, which he, of course, supported by voting for Barack Obama twice. So it becomes a made-for-TV movie. So now it's all over the radio stations. Mark Stein is talking about it. Breitbart, all of these, everybody except the mainstream media. But the new conservative media was all covering it. So, of course, I get a phone call after all of this media stuff's happening. And it's from the IRS Inspector General in Chicago.
Before that, though, you guys went on an airplane to go meet each other, right?
No, this is after.
So let's talk about how you guys got to meet each other. Because we have another segment after this we could just go dive right into.
All right. So I get this phone call, and it's the IRS Inspector General, and he says, "We've heard about your story in the media, and we'd like to come and speak with you." And I'm like, okay.
Now, I like that. I like that response because that's what everybody should respond when the IRS wants to come to your house. Right. I don't know if that's a good idea.
It's not such a good idea, right? All right. So I'm nervous. I hang up the phone. We set a time for them to come with their sidearms, by the way.
Wow.
Right. So
no intimidation there.
No intimidation at all. So I'm nervous. I call my attorney. And I said, "Here's what's going on, Mark. Can you help me?" He goes, "I know a gentleman in Chicago. It's probably the best attorney, William J. Sneckenberg of Sneckenberg, Thompson, and Brody. God rest his soul. We lost him a couple of years ago. But I tell the whole story. Mark's on the phone with me, my attorney. And at the end, Mr. Sneckenberg goes, "This is highly irregular." He goes, and I said, "Well, they're coming to my house at the 12 o'clock on Friday." He goes, "I'll be there at 11:30. Did not ask me for a retainer. Just said, I'll be there at 11:30. Comes to my house. Here comes the IRS Inspector General with his lackey, with sidearms, by the way, and nice little raised lettering business cards, which I paid for. And they sit down and they start interrogating me about my wife. They want my wife's Social Security number. Where does she work? They wanted to know all about Bill, the guy who I helped get his policy back. And so as soon as they started interrogating me about Bill's address, Bill's phone number, Mr. Steckenberg said, "This is where the conversation is over. These are not the pretenses that we suspected for this call. We thought you were here to help. There's the door." So they leave. I'm contacted also by Bill prior to this, and Bill's like, "Did you get any correspondence from the IRS?" I go, "Yeah, they're auditing me back to 2003. 2003.
And this is 2013, right?
Yeah, this is when this is going on. So 10 years ago, they were after drug dealers past 7 years, but they want money from me from 2003. And they say, I owe them this debt, it's $5,000 plus another $2,300, whatever it is. You can see all the letters from the IRS at my blogs. See StephenTucker.com, click IRS, or Victims of Obamacare tells the whole story. So turns out Bill also got a love letter from the IRS, right? And so he's like, what am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this? So fast forward to where you were. So now it's a national news story, and this wonderful 3-time, now 4-time Emmy-winning television program called Facing Life On, Head On, heard about us. They flew us both down to Ohio to tell our story on the air.
All right, let's hold right there because we have a minute left. And
Okay.
I just want to get your phone out there because, listen, the deadline's coming up, ladies and gentlemen.
We're going to talk, and we're going to talk
in
about
the
that.
next segment, we're
Yes.
going to finish this story up,
Good.
and then we have a whole other show to talk about everything.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a great show. We have C. Stephen Tucker, the healthcare professional that you need to talk to if you need to fill out this mandate. And I don't know anything about it, so you just continue. Let's get your phone number.
630-674-1551. If you're under 65 looking for health insurance, you cannot be denied for pre-existing conditions from November 1st to December 15th, but don't go it alone. Call me.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, OPM Tax Resolution is a sponsor of the show. 312-664-6649 and visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub. They'll fight the IRS. We are going to finish C. Stephen Tucker's story when we come back. And if you haven't caught it and you're just tuning in, well, you got to go to WatchTalkRadio.com and you got to watch this whole story unfold. It's amazing about the IRS going after conservative groups,
Nice
and really not
connection to
even
the
that,
IRS.
too. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen to our sponsors. Come right back here on AM 560.
The answer.
And now, back to the Trust Radio Network on AM 560. The Answer. Real conversations with some of the most trusted professionals in Chicagoland. Once again, here's attorney Stephen A. Leahy.
And this week's segment of As the IRS Turns, Koskinen,
Wherever we can, we follow the law.
Barry Sotero,
Not even mass corruption, not even a smidgen of corruption.
and that ever-favorite Lois Lerner is herself
Thank you. I'm not good at math.
for another week of As the IRS Turns. It continues.
I love that. I love the beginning, but this ties in perfectly because it's at the same time frame. It's actually right at the beginning of this IRS saga that this happened because it went on for some years after that.
Yes.
And first, I want to welcome everybody back to the Trust Radio Network here on AM 560.
The Answer.
Here with the co-host Jim Leahy, our technical producers Deborah Schreiner, and our guest this week is C. Stephen Tucker of HealthInsuranceMentors.com. And go ahead, Jim.
And we left C. Stephen Tucker at the end of the last segment. We were just talking about how you were going on that 4-time Emmy award-winning show to meet up with Bill. Am I correct?
That is correct. Yes.
So let's start right there.
Yes. By the way, as a sidebar, I was in the U.S. House of Representatives, and I watched Lois Lerner held in contempt of Congress. I was actually there.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. Okay. On the way to Ohio.
Nothing's happened to her.
Yeah, right. Nothing, sadly. So I'm on my way to Ohio, and never before have I ever had a problem with TSA. You know, I just unzip my pants and let them do what they want. So this time, I'm flagged for some reason. I'm taken into a little separate room, and I'm asked all these interrogated questions, right? They finally let me get my flight, but that's never happened to me before. So I get to Ohio. We're ready to shoot the
It's
episode.
coincidence.
Yeah. Ready to shoot the episode, and I get to meet Bill for the first time, which was amazing.
What was the name of the show?
Facing Life Head On. If you go to ccstephentucker.com and click Victims of Obamacare, there's a search there. You'll see the whole story. You'll see the episode and everything. All right, so I get there, and I said, did you have any problem, by the way, getting here, going through TSA? He goes, yeah, I was pulled off to the side in a little room in question. I go, isn't that funny? So was I, right? So apparently we were on somebody's watch list. So fast forward. It turns out that I'm hitting Mr. Sneckenberg's hitting my attorney is hitting a brick wall. Can't go any further. Won't find out with the IRS why it is I supposedly owe $5,000 from 2003, $2,600 from 2007, whatever it was. And you'll see all the IRS letters on that blog. And so he said, I can't go any further. I need extra assistance. So what do? I call the most powerful woman in the state of Illinois, Denise Cotone, the Illinois State Tea Party coordinator, who knows everybody and who's a dear friend of mine. So she calls Mark. Who was that? No, my name is Mark.
Mark Kirk.
Mark Kirk, thank
I'm
you.
sorry, I was
Who
sipping
was our
coffee.
U.S. Senator at
How
the time.
quickly we forget.
How quickly we forget, right. I'm so sorry, Mark, if you're hearing me anywhere. So Mark, to his credit, put his entire staff on the case. And when a U.S. Senator, one of 100 lucky few people on this planet, calls the IRS, it's a lot more weight than a local attorney like Steve Leahy calling, or even Mr. Steckenberg. So immediate resolution. I said, Mark, how is it that I owe debt? If I owe debt, he said, well, they're saying you bounced a check from 2003. I said, I don't bounce checks at Jewel Esco, let alone to the IRS. I would never do that. He said, okay. I said, I'll tell you what, I will write a check today and make full restitution for the bogus amount they say I owe. as long as you provide me a copy of said bounce check. That's all I want is just show me this bounce check because I don't have a copy of it, right?
Yeah.
Next day, Mark sends me a letter. You'll see the letter from U.S. Senator Mark Kirk on my blog. Your entire debt has been expunged from the Internal Revenue Service. So it went away.
So just magically, like
Just
that.
magically, thanks to a U.S. Senator.
Now
Bill-
luckily, I've had those. I've been lucky enough to get those for my clients. to
I'm
show
sure
them
you
that-
have.
that-
I
that
heard
they have
nothing but
been
good things about you.
That it's gone. It's like
Yes.
Unbelievable.
That's a
you know.
beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
Bill's debt, it turns out, Bill worked for the U.S. military. How he contracted cancer the first time was in his duties as a member of our military. And so he was cut a check in 2009 to retire on for the rest of his life to make restitution for his injuries
And his
sustained
work with
in the line of duty.
Mhm.
So that amount was to be tax-free for the rest of his life. And it remained tax-free for 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, until Bill had the audacity to go on the Megyn Kelly show on then president's, enemy, Fox News, and criticize the president, rightfully, by the way, for the law that he passed. All of a sudden,
Man's fighting for his life.
yes, all of a sudden the IRS, he gets a letter from the IRS, and the IRS wants a tax amount on the entire amount that was supposed to be tax-free, that he was supposed to retire on.
Mm-hmm.
So guess who got him out of his jam? It wasn't Nikki Haley. It was former North Carolina Senator Kay Hagan,
Oh,
a
Oh.
registered Democrat
Yeah.
senator,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
who was so appalled by what happened under his story that she went to bat for him and wiped it out. But just imagine if I didn't have the connections I have and Bill didn't have the connections he had. And we're
Yeah.
just the average American.
more
Guess
about
what?
more about your knowledge too about why this was wrong to begin with.
In the beginning, right.
Because here's a man what is going to just throw his hands up and say,
That's
let
it.
nature take its course.
That's it. So it's a remarkable story. The worst part about it is if I didn't have the connections I had, I was an average American, I either would not have Christmas because I'd have this new debt, or I wouldn't be able to send my child to college for the next semester. I would suffer. And that's the power this rogue IRS has, or at least had under Barack Obama. They weaponized these federal agencies against innocent Americans, like Bill, who's not just innocent, but served his country honorably, battling cancer, and you take away his health insurance policy.
Which is just
remarkable.
Well, any regular listener to this show knows that I take the position that nobody's too small that they can't be crushed by the
Yeah.
federal government. And so here's these two people, just regular Americans, trying to battle through life.
Right.
Given the new regulations, and man, you step out of line, and they're gonna put you right back in.
And it's so sad too.
It is sad.
And they just that was the whole IRS saga. That was just that was in the heat of the moment right there.
And of
That-
course, they
the
would still
IRS
tell you
saga.
today that all this TSA,
And that they did nothing
TSA,
wrong.
oh, that was just a coincidence.
Yeah.
Oh, the IRS coming in,
Right.
just a
Yeah,
coincidence.
they didn't do anything
You know,
wrong.
And we would never do that. We would never sick the government on you. That would be wrong.
Yep.
And Barack Obama would never do that because he's a man of the people.
Yep.
And it's just, and again, this
It's
is why
just
we did
Chicago politics. It's a
and that's
Chicago
what
political move.
I always said that. It's
That's
like when they brought Chicago politics to national level.
Yeah,
So one of the things
they
that
did.
we do now with the IRS, right? One of the things they do now is they go after your passport, right? So they never did that before. That's kind of a Chicago thing, right? You don't pay your taxes to the Illinois Department of
No, you
Revenue,
can't
and
leave.
you know what happens is they take your license away from you.
Oh, yes,
and
they
do
will.
it, and they do it very quickly.
Oh, yes,
and,
they will.
And you won't work, and you'll tell them. I was representing someone with a restaurant once, and there's 15 employees. We say, well, hey, let's try to work out some sort of payment plan or something. No, and I was like, well, there's 15 people going to lose their job. He should have paid his taxes. And they just buried the guy. And this is what happens. And you step out, especially again, you get big time politicians, as you said, with the senator showing you the power that he can do to fix it.
Right.
The power they have to meddle it all up to begin with.
That's exactly right.
So if
Yep.
they have the power to fix it, they have the power to put it in to start it on the roll anyway.
And it just gets me how people deny the fact that, because I was just having a
I agree with
conversation with somebody a couple of days ago about how they denied these. Oh, the government didn't do that against people. What does a government mean anyway? I'm like, really? You really believe that?
They're
You
public
really,
servants.
You're going to look me right in the eye and tell me that this is a lie. That this is, I'm fabricating this. That I have had too much to take in in one sitting, and that I'm off my rocker.
So I'm a Godfather fan. I love the Godfather, right?
Yeah.
So when Kate says to Michael, well, my father's just like a senator or any other important guy. Well, they don't have men killed who's being naive now?
Right, exactly.
It's like
that's a great
really,
line.
really, it's like you think that this stuff just happens. And again, I think, and I don't want to get off on some tangent, but that's the battle we're having now, right? And that's this whole impeachment thing. This is that battle of who's going to win,
Right.
and it's all about exposure, in my opinion. They're exposed. Trump's trying to expose, and they're trying to expose Trump for being I think a lot of fabricated stuff. And he's trying to expose them and Biden and all them for the corruption that's inherent.
Yep.
And I think most Americans would, if you told them, you think that the senator's family illegally or I shouldn't say improperly make money. I mean, I think 90% of Americans would shake their heads. Of course.
Of course. Insider trading is legal.
Oh, yes.
In Washington, D.C. You try that here, you're going to federal prison.
A lot of things they do.
That
If
is
you
so
try it
funny.
here, you go to federal
Hey,
prison.
we're running out of time. Let's
Oh,
get
boy.
your phone number.
Phone number again, 630-674-1551. Even Medicare. If you're trying to navigate that maze, call me. Don't do it alone.
And we're going to talk about that later in the show. So
We're going to talk about that next segment. We're going to be diving into the health care law and what you. I don't know. Listen, that's your thing. It's too confusing.
It
And
is
they made it
very
on purpose. But remember, Open Tax Resolution is here for you. 312-664-6649. And visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. Ladies and gentlemen, if you missed that little story, go over to WatchTalkRadio.com. You'll be able to see the whole entire story from start to finish, and you'll be able to see other great content too. So go over there, and also too listen to our sponsors and come right back here on AM 560. The Answer.
You're listening to the Trust Radio Network on AM 560. The Answer. Step inside the minds of some of Chicago's most successful business leaders. Here's your host, attorney Stephen A. Leahy.
welcome back. I am your host, Stephen A. Leahy, like the guy just said. We're here at AM 560 The Answer. This is the Trust Radio Network, where we introduce you to trusted professionals, people you can trust when you're making important decisions. I'm here with my co-host, Jim Leahy. Our technical producer is Deborah Schreiner. And again, one of the most important decisions you can make is how are you going to get your health insurance? It's mandated,
That's right.
And that's why we have C. Stephen Tucker here today to tell it's not mandated.
It is
anymore.
no longer
That's
mandated
true.
anymore, thanks to President Trump.
That's true.
Thank God. That ended January 1st of 2019, so there's no more IRS penalties for not having health insurance
right.
or not having the right type of health insurance, et cetera. But we still have restricted enrollment. So the reason they restrict enrollment to a 45-day window is if you could buy health insurance that covers pre-existing conditions at any time, you'd simply wait till you were sick to buy it. And you would only keep it for as long as you need your scheduled surgery. And then you would cancel it, and then you'll bankrupt every insurance company in the country instead of the 88 that have already been put out of business since Obamacare. So you have to have restricted enrollment. So everybody, every year, just like Medicare open enrollment before the ACA Obamacare, it was 10/15 to 12/7. It's still October 15th to 12/7. During that window, you could switch your Part D plan for prescription drugs if you're on Medicare. You can change Medicare Advantage plans, which are awful. But if you have one, you can maybe one that's slightly less awful. But that's what Medicare open enrollment period is about. The ACA open enrollment period is for everybody in the under 65 marketplace who does not have employer-sponsored coverage, which is about just under 1 million people in Illinois. It's a lot of people. So they all have to apply during that window. If they miss December 15th, they're not getting coverage for pre-existing conditions for another full year. And that provides a strong impetus for these people to continue to pay their premiums, right? They know if they let the policy lapse, I can't get it for another year. So there is that. There is also the now volatile short-term health insurance marketplace. The law, the ACA, provided a carve-out for one kind of health insurance called short-term. It is non-renewable, and up until December 14th of 6 a.m. of 2018, you could buy them in Illinois for 12 months. And that made non-Obamacare short-term plans safe because why? If you buy them during open enrollment, they're not going to end until next year's open enrollment. So when the policy renews in 12 months, you have to answer health questions again. If you're sick and can't qualify, you still have time to buy an Obamacare plan. So this is where millions of people were escaping from the high cost of Obamacare. And unfortunately, Barack Obama figured that out, struck an executive order, and shrunk them down to 90 days maximum. That's as long as you could own them. So what good is any policy that starts January 1st and by April 1st it ends? What if you're sick in 90 days, right?
Why would
Because he wanted everyone in the exchanges. He didn't care if you're paying more than your mortgage premium for the privilege of a $7,900 deductible, and you can't use it at Northwestern, University of Chicago, or Rush or Lurie Children's. Who cares?
You just got to be in.
I want you in there. Subsidize all the people who voted for me. That's what happened.
That is just.
So President Trump gets in office. One of the first executive orders he signed in October of 2017 was the restoration, among other things in that executive order, of short-term policies, stretching them back out to 12 months. Making them safe again. At the time, we had Bruce Rauner in Illinois. The Democrats immediately in Springfield, because they have to resist everything, even if it's good, because it came from that evil Trump. So they pushed through a piece of legislation to shrink them back down to 6 months. Rauner vetoed that and said, there's no way you can do that, because what if somebody buys that during open enrollment? It lasts for 6 months. By July 1st, the kid's got cancer. You're leaving them in a position where they can't buy health insurance for that sick child for 6 more months, right?
How does nobody just hold this over their heads?
I tried. I went to Springfield. I testified in Springfield, literally testified. You could see it. You could read it at my blog, my whole testimony.
What's your blog?
csteventucker.com. If you go there, you'll read my testimony in the Illinois State House. They completely ignored me, and they brought in a 26-year-old expert, right? And she testified, well, when a short-term policy ends in 6 months, the Affordable Care Act provides qualifying life events, which grants you special enrollment rights. So if your 6-month policy ends in June, you can just go to healthcare.gov and buy a policy, which is crap. HIPAA law outlined qualifying life events before Obamacare. The exhaustion of a short-term policy is not a qualifying life event. You got to wait 6 more months. And 6 months without health insurance with cancer is an eternity. So she lied.
It's a death sentence.
Right. So
so she lied under oath.
She did.
You know what? I don't think she probably lied.
I think she didn't know. She didn't
know.
know. But to Mark Batnick's credit, the representative who called me down there, he had 2 minutes to close. And by that time, my testimony was over. They shut my microphone off. So I couldn't refute what she said. What does Mark do? The head legislator turns to Mark Batnick, one of us, and says, Mr. Batnick, you have 2 minutes to close. You know what he said?
He said,
I
let you go.
cede my time to see Stephen Tucker. I'm like, yes! now I can refute the untruth. And even if they heard the refutation of her lie, or she didn't know, they still limited short-term policies to 6 months. So now they're unsafe for everybody to buy after January 1st, unless, and I'll cover unless in the next segment.
Okay.
All right, well, let's get your phone number if I got any questions, because that's a lot of...
It's a lot, I know. 630-674-1551.
Health Insurance Mentors. See Stephen Tucker, the health insurance guru, as I like to say, or
He's a mentor.
He's a mentor.
That's as good as guru.
This guy's it. So give him a call, 630-674-1551. And Open Tax Resolution, which is 312-664-6649. I can give my phone number too. No, I'm not going to do that. Too many phone numbers at one time. But anyway, listen to our sponsors, ladies and gentlemen, because they are the lifeblood of this business. And you guys come right on back now, you hear, on AM 560.
The answer.
Now, back to the Trust Radio Network on AM 560. Hear from Chicago's business leaders. Learn who they are, what they do, and why they do it. Once again, here's attorney Stephen A. Leahy.
Thank you for joining our conversation here at AM 560 The Answer on the Trust Radio Network, where we introduce you to trusted professionals that you should contact if you're having problems. And one of the problems that you might have is health insurance, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. And I have here my nephew, my co-host, my very good friend, Jim Leahy. Our technical producer is Deborah Schreiner, and our expert today for health insurance from healthinsurancementors.com, see Stephen Tucker. Thanks again for joining us, Steve.
My pleasure, gentlemen.
We were talking about on the last segment how you went to go and testify in front of in Springfield. And
yes.
You are they saw you as a foremost expert on the subject.
One representative did, yes. He was actually, Mark was a client of mine for years before he became a representative. So when he became a representative, and we used to talk about it. I think I'm going to run. I think I'm going to do it. Then he did it, and he won. Now he's a state rep, one of the few good ones we have down there. Nevertheless, so after I give this testimony, they ignore everything I said. Even after I refute her.
I could have told you that before you went there.
I know that, but I had to try.
Of course you did.
I had to try.
No.
I had to try.
Yeah,
I had to try. And now it's a matter of public record, right? Yeah. So if somebody, I'm telling you, come June, watch the news stories. There's too many people in the individual marketplace, right? Somebody's going to get sick. Somebody's going to have cancer. Some child's going to get sick in Illinois. And the Sun-Times and the Tribune and everybody else is going to swoop in when their story comes. I can't get health insurance. Why can't I get health insurance? What happened to me? And you know who warned them?
Yes.
This
Well,
guy.
I hope you're right in that it does.
I hope
come up.
I'm not proven right,
No, no,
because
no.
that means somebody's sick.
No, but somebody's always going to get sick, and
I
it's
mean,
good. And
that's true.
And when you come up,
You
with
know my
these-
point, though.
When you come up, yes, I understand
Yes,
what you're
yes.
saying.
Yeah.
But my point is that it's going to happen.
It's going to
and
happen.
and we knew it was going to happen before they passed the rule. That's why they passed the rule,
Right.
because they know that they want to make it so bad for you if you don't follow the rule that the alternative stinks.
Correct.
Right. So
Correct.
so we all know that this is going to happen. But my problem is the media here in Illinois probably won't cover it because it won't put them in, because they were on their side, in
Correct.
my opinion.
Correct.
And that, so I think that they won't really show it. But is there a way around it, or there isn't?
There is a way around it. Okay, so on my website, for example, if you go to healthinsurancementors.com, you click on non-ACA short-term. There's going to be a big red banner. Short-term plans are unsafe to purchase in Illinois. It will tell you the other states where you can, where it's safe. They last for 12 months. Here it is unsafe for anyone who does not have the ability to first buy group health insurance at any time throughout the year. Group health insurance has always been available all year long. There's no special period where you can only get group health insurance. And since 1996 HIPAA law, here we are tying it right back, right? Since HIPAA law was passed, group health insurance has always covered pre-existing conditions. This is why no employers ever ask you, how heavy are you?
Okay.
Do you have a family history of
you're
heart
gonna be
disease?
covered.
Right? Because
I did not know that.
because HIPAA law guarantees insurability for group health insurance. So you have to have your business, even a husband and wife without employees, have to have their business designed where they can buy group health insurance, even if they have no employees. So if you have that in place before you get into the short-term marketplace, then at the end of 6 months, your child is sick, you are sick or injured, you call me, and because you've done the pre-planning, you've set up your business the right way, all we have to do is buy group health insurance as of July 1st, and your pre-existing condition will be covered. If you are individual and you can't form a business with one other person, you have no business being in the short-term marketplace because it's dangerous, and I will not sell it to someone.
So let me get this straight, though, because this is important.
That's a trusted professional, though, by the way.
But this is important, though, okay? Because what you're saying is you can plan it. You can plan it so if something happens, you can buy group health insurance. But if something doesn't happen, then you don't have to buy it.
That's correct. So
Okay.
it's an umbrella, much like an umbrella policy. It protects your family. So at the end of a short-term policy, if you guys are still healthy in 6 months, fine. Continue to save a fortune by buying non-Obamacare short-term coverage. But if, God forbid, one of you is sick or injured, you've got that safety net because you did the pre-planning to set up your business so that you're able to buy group health insurance. And again, you can do it without employees. People think they have to have an employee. You do not.
Talk about the cost savings.
The cost savings it'll be more expensive than short-term. There's nothing cheaper than short-term health insurance.
No, I'm talking about this whole strategy, right? Because you're talking about buying short-term first, right?
Yeah, buying short-term and staying in the short-term. Short-term health insurance is at least less than half the cost of a non-subsidized ACA plan, Obamacare plan. If you qualify for a subsidy, you should have Obamacare. Because if you're just below 400% of the federal poverty level, which is like $64,000 for a couple, you're going to get a tremendous reduction in your premiums because you're going to get an advanced premium tax credit, what we call in slang an Obamacare subsidy. But for the majority of my clientele, and a lot of people in Illinois, couples are making more than $65,000. The cost for individual health insurance for them is now going to be way more than it ever was, 260% increases since 2014, more than their mortgage payment. So these are the people using short-term to save that tremendous burden in premium. But they cannot do it after January 1st unless they have set up their business so they can buy group health.
So should they call you?
They can call me now.
Call you now.
Right now. Yeah, and actually I'm going to be insanely busy in just a couple
So
weeks.
do it now.
Call now.
Call now.
630-674-1551.
One more time.
630-674-1551.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Take advantage. Give C. Stephen Tucker a call if you have any questions regarding the Affordable Care Act, or if you have any questions regarding insurance. He's going to be the guy that will answer it.
And I do every call.
Good.
I know.
That's why you're a trusted professional.
That's right.
Personally, yeah.
That's right. So anyway, remember, ladies and gentlemen, Opum Tax Resolution is the sponsor of the show. 312-664-6649 or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your help to fight the IRS. Boy, have we had a good show today. But we're not done yet. We still have one more segment, so you guys have to stay tuned because we're gonna wrap this up about this whole insurance thing. It makes your head spin, but see, Stephen Tucker makes it easy. And so do our sponsors. So listen to them. Come right back here on AM 560.
The Answer.
All right, let's finish this show
Let's
up.
do it.
All right, let's do it.
But it's fun. Man, that's a great story. Just getting it. Man, you're full of good stories. You have a lot of good stories.
That's all I got. I'm tapped out now.
Literally, that's it.
Well, we can't have you on again.
No,
then.
you're right, exactly. I got nothing left.
So when's the next open
I hope
enrollment?
something interesting
November
happens.
1st.
So after November 1st, then January 1st it kicks in. The next one is in.
Next year, same time, November 1st.
Oh.
Every year, 45-day window, November 1st.
So if I buy a 6-month, I can't buy it again, can I?
You can. You got to have a 60-day gap, thanks again to Illinois Democrats, before you can buy it from the same insurance company. So you can buy from United Healthcare, for example, and then buy the next one from this company, and then,
But you have a 60-day gap where you don't have anything.
No, you do. You
Okay.
can't buy from the same insurer without a 60-day lapse.
Okay.
So you just, and 6 month here, you buy another one
From somebody
this
else.
6 month. But none of this can be played. This game cannot be played
By
unless
yourself.
you have the aforementioned business structure in place so that you
Uh-huh.
can buy group health insurance.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, you're paying Russian roulette, not just with your life and your health, your whole family's health.
Mhm.
And now, back to the Trust Radio Network on AM 560. The Answer. Real conversations with some of the most trusted professionals in Chicagoland. Once again, here's attorney Stephen A. Leahy.
Thank you for joining us today. It's
Again.
been a great show. We've been talking about health insurance with our guest C. Stephen Tucker.
The man,
He
C. Stephen Tucker.
knows about health insurance. I'll tell you that.
You've gone against. I mean, you've gone. To
I'm introducing you,
Springfield.
Jim.
Oh.
I'm introducing Jim Leahy, my
I
co-host.
just was.
Mike, our
It was a great
technical
show. I
producer
had a great show
is
today.
Deborah Schreiner, and this is the AM 560, The Answer,
The
and the
Answer.
Trust Radio Network. So go ahead now, Jim.
See, Stephen Tucker, you have drawn the ire from Nancy Pelosi.
True.
You have gone to Springfield on behalf of all American Illinois families for the
Also
health.
true. Yes.
You are the man with the plan, and I mean it.
We all need health insurance, and so we should contact
And if you need a plan, call you.
That's the thing. A lot of people do not call brokers or agents because they associate financial brokers with insurance brokers. Insurance brokers don't charge. Our services are free. We're paid by the insurance
That's right.
company if we bring business to them, your business to them.
Yeah.
It's the same price to buy Blue Cross without my 25 years of expertise at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois.com, bcbsl.com, or go to healthinsurancementors.com. If you use me or don't use me, it's the same price. So why wouldn't you use a broker?
I say the same thing when you're
I just
when you're
don't
buying a home. Buyer's agent, same thing. You're really
That's
not
it.
paying them. I'm getting paid by the seller.
That's exactly right.
You know.
That's
So
it's the
don't
same
do it
thing.
yourself.
Don't
Get
go it
help.
alone. Don't go it alone. Call us.
Get help.
Yeah.
At healthinsurancementors.com.
.com.
Well, see, Stephen Tucker, my man, I got to say that you are all over Twitter too. Is there a way I could follow you if I'm just if I'm driving my car? or-
Yes, but that's only for politics. I do not use
Well,
social media for business.
If you're listening to AM 560, I could pretty much
You
guess.
can follow me at C. Steven, but brace yourself. It's not for the faint of heart.
Well, again, we've had such a great show, and the story that you had with the IRS coming after you. I mean, we had a great
And
conversation.
that's just a coincidence. I didn't know that was going to happen.
How
No.
fitting, though, right? It's fitting.
I mean, it's coincidence.
It really
So,
is.
Had I
Yeah.
known that story,
I'd been on earlier.
that's right.
Right.
You were on earlier.
I was. That's true.
So if you missed that story, you got to go to watchtalkradio.com. Or if you're, I mean, also, too, if you want to see what's going on in between the conversations we're having in between the segments, hey, go right over there, too. I mean, we had a great conversation today.
We did. It was
And we
enjoyable.
wrapped up with, again, the whole gun thing and how people don't want to. They say, "Oh, I just incapacitated me." Yeah, wait until that bullet misses.
This
the
is why I love the Trust Radio Network, because we have great conversations with people you should know as a listener, people you can trust when you're making important decisions. And health insurance is certainly one of the most important decisions you're going to
It
make for
is.
you and your family.
It
That's
is.
right.
Yeah.
So make sure you call people who you can trust, which is C. Stephen Tucker. Can we get your phone number?
630-674-1551.
And what again, thank you so much for coming on,
you,
telling us
gentlemen.
your stories,
My pleasure.
and fighting for the Illinois families, for helping with, I mean, these stupid laws that they're passing.
Ugh.
With
Drives me nuts.
listen.
Are we
I'm
ever
sure
gonna-
you're gonna get some. You're gonna get some Christmas cards from those guys on the other side of the aisle. I can imagine.
Oh, I usually do.
So remember, ladies and gentlemen, let's get your phone number one more time.
630-674-1551, healthinsurancementors.com.
November 1st, the deadline, ladies and gentlemen. November to January 1st. So anyway, also too, Open Tax Resolution is our sponsor. 312-664-6649 or visit chicagotaxteam.com. We thank you so much for tuning into our show. Tune in next Saturday at 8 p.m. And remember, listen to AM 560.
The Answer.